Oh, we can start now, Jason. Sweetheart, I don't know where you went. Where you been hiding?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That's right.
Roll call. John.
Yeah, I'm here.
Beverly. Here. Karen. Here. Stacy. Here. Linda here. Yes, yours. Fire department?
Evening, everybody.
Good evening.
For the month of November, we had a total of 3 calls for the fire department. One was a down power line, one was a vehicle accident with injuries, and one was an assist to the rescue. We had 19 medical calls. It was brought up last month that we only ran, I think, 2 calls last month, and now only 3 calls this month, which didn't hit me until I thought about it afterwards. 3 calls this month, we ran 22 calls this month. Taking out the calls we ran during the day with full time, I'm not sure what that number is. But last month, what?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I have the dispatch log, you don't have the total amount for everything.
Well, I didn't have time to print.
No, I know,
separate print, but
let them know when I go through.
Okay, thank you. Last November, if we take out all the medical calls that we assisted TRICARE with, we only ran 6. We ran 14 calls total. Last November, without the rescue even in service, we ran 8 medical calls. So to say that we only ran 3 is inaccurate. We ran probably 15 with medicals, taking out the daytime calls. I'll have that stat next month when I separate everything out to do the year-end stats. Any questions?
I was the one that asked about how many of those were fire. So it was still 3,
Right. And we still ran 22 calls, probably 15,
but they're all medical.
which
How many were fire?
How many fires?
How many were fire calls?
Fire
Not medical
department.
calls, but fire calls.
3,
3.
yes.
And the other, how many were?
19 were medicals.
Oh, okay.
Same as last year, 14 calls, 8 were medical, 6 were fire. So it's always been 70-30, probably, medical versus
So
fire.
the numbers aren't really that far off from last year?
Correct.
Okay.
We have a great bunch of people. Most, if not all of them, JC has trained to be medical. They are dedicated, they take their job very seriously, and they show up to work and do a great job. The one thing that is going to cause the rescue to fail is the fact that Stacy, you're not getting their paychecks done on time. And these people deserve to be paid every 2 weeks when they have earned their paychecks. And
Didn't the last one not even get to me? It's set in your outbox, you said?
no, I hand
Yeah,
in,
I got it in there on the email. It says-
I hand in their payrolls every,
The last
other
one
Friday.
didn't come to me, Dave, because it's set in your outbox.
I hand in payroll to you in your
And
mailbox,
I do them when
in
I
Karen's
come in
mailbox, and
and get them done. Sometimes they come back to me too, because they're not done right, the hours are wrong. So I'm not completely at fault here. I
so,
will say maybe a couple times if that, but for the most part, nope. And we did not know, this was a trial basis, mind you, right? This is all being done on a trial basis.
yes, it's on a trial basis, and the people deserve to be paid when they're supposed to be paid.
And they're being
Yes, I
paid.
screwed up one time.
Well, I think
And-
it's more than that, but I'm not gonna stand
Okay.
here and argue with you, and I
I'm not trying to
appreciate you
argue.
not doing what you're doing.
Well, I would appreciate my people getting paid when
I
they
do
deserve
pay
to be
them.
paid. The last 2 pay cycles, they've been late. And they
As you
deserve
said,
to
the
be
last
paid.
one you're set in the outbox. You said they didn't come out because it's set in your outbox.
I don't,
Show the email.
go ahead and show me that
I
email.
will.
But I turn
Can I
in,
forward it to you, Karen, because I couldn't even print it out, I think.
Yes, there was one, the summary page.
and I turn in,
Did it say it's set in the outbox? I think I forwarded, there you go.
Should be an apology.
I turn in
Definitely.
timesheets
There's hard copies printed in also.
every other Friday to you and Stacy. So their pay sheets that they fill out are here every other Friday. Thank you.
The guy, still have more questions for that comment?
Yeah. John, would you like to come up and give a little?
Sure, absolutely.
How about that? That's rude.
What's the misappropriation of funds?
All right, well, good evening, everyone. My name is John Fixture, the Director of South Operations for Life EMS. I believe this evening the trustees are going to be voting on one of the contracts we submitted for Columbia Township. Life EMS has been in operation now actually coming up on 40 years. We began in West Michigan, and we're very proud that we still are serving West Michigan, continue to grow every year. We now serve 10 counties throughout West Michigan. Much of it very mixed areas. We have urban operations, we have rural operations, very different types of services all across the area. One thing we were very proud of is our expansion into Van Buren County. We started with Pine Grove Township probably about 6 or 7 years ago now, and then added in the city of Gobles, and then most recently Bloomingdale Township, and we're looking to continue the expansion here with Columbia. We love this area. We have a very good passion for Van Buren County, and we really enjoy working with first responders out here. We've run actually a few calls this year with these gentlemen already, and have some great relationships already established, and look forward to continuing to grow that. Out here this evening, just to, again, once again, to our faces, thank Columbia Township for allowing us to present the contract, and see if you, the board trustees, had any questions regarding that.
Where is the ambulance station?
Our current ambulance is stationed in Pine Grove Township,
Pine Grove
on
Township.
the western edge of that, or the eastern side of the city of Gobles. Yes,
John,
ma'am.
could you explain how the rotation would work of your, when Supervisor Norton and I came to visit your facility, you said that you would rotate your employees, the people staffing the ambulances between city and country, so that they would get the different experiences, so that we would have higher experience level of staff out here?
Correct, yep.
Can you explain that?
Yeah, absolutely. So all of our Van Buren medics are system certified in Kalamazoo County. So they go through the system there, they're accredited in that county, and they run a number of calls in that system to ensure that they keep their skills very sharp. That's one of our goals with it. One of the challenges with some of the rural operations, if you don't have a lot of volume, it's difficult to keep the skills up. So it's very hard to make sure that our folks are exposed to a wide variety of calls, so they have very high skill levels all across the board. In addition, not only our paramedics, but also our EMTs are certified for pediatric support, life support, and they're also certified for trauma life support. So they have a pre-hospital trauma life support class. Now that's very unique to Kalamazoo County, but we extend that to our Van Buren EMTs as well. So they also have the same credentials as our Kalamazoo staff do.
Did you also say, or I don't know if I'm remembering, it was over a year ago, did you, also say that our medical first responders, or our fire department guys would be able to join in some of your trainings at no cost to the township?
Yep, absolutely. In fact, we were just talking about that prior to the meeting here a little bit, mentioning that, provided things continue to move forward here, we're happy to get our ambulance out to not only demo, it's actually important for that, just so that the personnel out here can understand how the ambulance is stocked and where the equipment is. Ours are laid out a bit differently than other ambulances, so we like to explain that process and how we use that system. We use a speed loader system for all of our bins. Everything's color-coded to make it very easy to stock and easy to work with the first responders on regardless of the area. So we work very hard with that, but we love doing training with the fire department. That is huge. The integration is absolutely important. So we believe very highly in that, and we'd love to get out and be a part of the training.
Yes, sir. One more, John, I'm sorry. And from what I understand right now, our guys, when you use some supplies from the truck, that TRICARE replaces those supplies at no cost to us? Would that be the same with life?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Our common expendable medical supplies, like your bag valve masks, 4x4s, bandaging supplies, splinting supplies, yep, all of that we would be happy to switch out.
And the average experience level of your employees?
Oh goodness, our folks have been with the organization for many years. I don't know what the average years of length of service for our vendor, but they're 15, 20 years. One of them's been, I think our shortest one's been out here for 12 years. Within our organization, so.
And the last question I have, because we've got all these crazy roads and, we're out in the country, how do you plan on training your staff to find us?
Oh, fortunately, yes, so obviously.
GPS is done.
Yes, we have built in the ambulances, we have automatic GPS systems. They're built in, they tie back to our CAD, but obviously cellular service is a bit hit or miss in certain areas of the county here. So we're very fortunate that most of our folks are actually from the area. So they have a very intimate knowledge of the roads just because of the fact they do live out here.
Beverly, we have fairly detailed map books that we will make copies of so they have them.
Right.
That was my question, because we got so darn many fire lanes in Columbia Township that you can easily get lost if you don't have it. You'd have to have an update or work with Dave and make sure that the fire lanes are updated.
Yep, we absolutely would be happy to get copies of those map books on board too. And we would expand that. So I think one of the other things you mentioned earlier, the backup, so one of the other things is we do have our Allegheny service that will help out and back up the service area when the ambulance that's actually stationed at Pine Grove is out. That'll be one of the things we'll reevaluate first off, is kind of where are we going to post that ambulance when they come down back up the area. So we may likely get them a little bit closer than the actual Pine Grove base is one of the things we'll be looking at when they're backfilling to this area.
Well, I did a quick mapping study, and it's pretty much apples to apples. If Bangor is responding either from Bangor's fire department or Bangor Township office, where they frequently sit, like responding from Gobles, I mean, Bangor would be closer to that side, and, Gobles would be closer here. But throughout the township, it's almost dead even response times.
And I think, our big focus is always the quality of care. You have a very robust first responder set here now with first responders active in the area. That's great to see. That's something we don't have the luxury of in a lot of our municipalities. And that really does allow us to deliver a quality seamless level of care because of the transition from the first responders to the ALS component.
Quality of care is what we're
Yep.
worried about,
Absolutely.
because.
And that is one of the things that, we have. That is how we've continued to move across the county, honestly. We've seen that, and we've provided references, obviously, to that effect, other township supervisors that have had us in. And the same things, we've heard different issues in those other counties, or in those other townships, and we've had the privilege of being able to correct that. In fact, I was at the Pine Grove Township meeting last week, and one of the trustees said, it was very nice because he hasn't had a complaint since we've taken over the service. And that was one of the things he was very excited about and ecstatic about and relayed to us during the meeting. So we work very hard at quality care. It does not mean we're perfect, okay? I just want to make sure that's in it. We have human beings, but we work very hard to provide a very high quality level of care. Ken?
I have a little anecdote for you. I've got a sister that lives in Noble, and my mother was at her home and needed to call an ambulance 2 times within probably a 10-day window. You guys responded quickly both times. They were very happy with the service. The second time, her blood sugar was, you couldn't even get a reading, and we believe your arrival saved a life. So I feel indebted.
Well, thank you. We always appreciate stories like that. And we love to be able to relay that back to the crews as well. So thank you for that.
They deliver donuts, maybe.
Anybody else have any questions? Thank you, John.
All set? All right, thank you very much.
We need to do the first here, and we need to see
Yes, we have the deputy here tonight. The deputy can take notes, correct? Is that part of the deputy's duties?
It's allowed.
Where did
Pause
they
just
go?
a moment and see about that. Okay, you're free.
I don't think, our members
Sorry, folks, give us just a minute.
Have a new leader.
Thank you, Joan. Yep. We did the first one, we have not yet.
Correct.
Any board member, okay?
There should be no date, time, or something.
I don't know.
Remember.
No, 7:15. Jason?
Do we have to make a motion or?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm come up here. Make a motion for Joan to take over with the note taking.
What are you doing?
I'll make that motion for the deputy.
I'm taking notes.
Take the notes.
For the clerk. I'll
The
second.
clerk left the meeting.
Oh,
All in favor, John?
yeah.
Beverly?
Yes, someone second on the motion.
Karen did. Karen?
Yes.
Linda, yes. Moving forward, go ahead, Jason.
Evening, everyone. For the month of November 2019, I traveled 1,186 patrol miles. There were 85 property inspections completed, 2 assist other agencies, 6 assist the sheriff's department. I had 23 total complaints, and there were 3 liquor inspections completed. Total dispatch calls / units, there were 3 fire, 43 EMS, 6 animal control, and 50 police. The police incident types are as follows: 3 suspicious situations, 4 motorist assist, 2 assaults, 4 larcenies, 4 alarms, 1 B&E, 2 abandoned hazard, 8 traffic crash, 11 general assist, 4 obstructing justice, 1 health and safety, 1 traffic violation, 1 conservation, 1 fraud, 1 MDOP, 1 trespass, and 1 harassing telephone complaint. Is there any questions, comments, concerns?
I just have a question.
Yes, sir.
And it has nothing to do with your report, but have you heard anything about our sheriff when he's gonna be on True? I know we want.
They said that they would notify us when, probably a month in advance, and they're
A month in advance.
yes, they're thinking possibly between mid-March and the beginning of April.
Okay, is he back yet, or is he still?
Yes, he was gone Tuesday through Thursday last week.
Okay.
And Jason,
Yes.
Jason, has there been any complaints or notices from at your office about scams from, senior citizens getting taken?
Yes, sir, we did get one recently. It's a very common scam. An individual contacted one of our senior citizens and, acted like they were his grandson, advised that, they needed bond money immediately. They were currently they needed money, $9,000. This gentleman didn't question it, you look out for your family, went to the bank and withdrew $9,000 and was going to send it to these people. Obviously, these people, they do look into your history, they search your history, they want to know everything they can about you, so if you ask them questions or question them, they can answer your questions and you will believe it's them. I highly recommend that if anything like that ever happens, you hang up, then you try to call your family and see if it's legit. If you can't get a hold of them, just wait. If they are in jail, okay, they're gonna sit there for a few hours and you'll be able to
You always look on the inmate roster in most jails and find them anyway.
There you go. I know in the state of Michigan, like Ms. Harris said, you can always look up on the internet the whole inmate roster, so.
It's right there. They even got pictures.
Yeah, just be vigilant, always ask a lot of questions. Maybe have some kind of code with your family to where you can say, okay, if this is legit, I need a code word. I mean, it's just like with your children. If someone else is coming to pick them up, you should always have a code word that they know. Maybe have something like that with your family. Just be aware that in today's day and age with technology, there are many people out there, and there are people that just do this for a living. They will cold call people all day long, seeing if they can get people to bite on this. And they do attack our senior population a lot because it's a different generation. They're very trusting, and they seem to have the most success there.
And
so
they
just
get scared easily.
Absolutely. Other one that comes around a lot, they will call you up and say, oh, you didn't pay your bill, we're gonna shut your lights off in an hour.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Again, hang up, contact your power company, contact your gas company, and see if it's a legit. Companies will not do it this way. I mean, it never happens this way. There's a scam with the sheriff's department where somebody will call you up and say, you have a warrant for your arrest. You better send us money or we're coming to take you to jail. This does not happen in this fashion at all. So just be vigilant, hang up, and you can always call back. Yes, ma'am.
Can I add one more? Just a note of warning that we're coming into a charitable time of giving, and there's a lot of organizations out there or people out there that will pose as a charitable organization. And so please be vigilant before, if you do donate, know who you're donating to.
That's very true. And also, every time there's a tragic incident, there's people that will latch onto that, and they will just start doing cold calls to see if they can get somebody to buy on it. Absolutely. Yes?
A little less than charitable organization too, IRS time of year.
Yes.
IRS scams is very common.
It is just it's a never-ending thing, and unfortunately, a lot of these people are thousands of miles away, and a lot of them are countries away, and they've become very good at spoofing their phone numbers and their locations, and a lot of them never get located.
Did that guy lose the 9,000?
No, he never ended up sending it. He actually called, so it all worked out in the end. Yes?
Your 8 traffic crashes, those are all within the township?
Did I say 8?
Yes.
Then yes.
Okay. Were they just slide offs? Because we only were called to one.
I would have to go through the entire list. I can do that for you though if you wish.
Yeah, I'm just curious why I'm not getting dispatched.
If you want, during the rest of the meeting, I'll just write them all down for you.
That'd be great.
Oh, thank you. Anything else?
Thank you, Jim.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna hold
Sure.
Good evening, everybody. Long time no see.
Yeah.
October, I was in Delaware for my son's 40th birthday party, and last month I was chasing Bambi through the woods.
You got one.
And I left on Tuesday, 24 inches of snow, and no power in the house, and I'm still paying for that.
Can you imagine his wife when she said when he...
I let her keep the truck.
Oh, yeah, okay, fine.
Okay.
You got an 8-point buck, what the heck?
Yeah, what the heck. Some things that you need to be aware of, some villages that are gonna be on the ballot in March. 2 of them are renewals, and one is, new, but kind of a renewal of veteran service millage. It's a 0.1% mil. If that passes, it will generate $339,744 a year for 4 years. But the Soldiers and Sailors Relief Fund will be done away with. And, at our, veteran service, meeting that we had the other day, we talked about that they want to get more information out, so either I will have, or there'll be people coming out to present where those funds are gonna go, so everybody knows. That's the big question.
Right, that village, if the gas increases yours 33 cents.
Right, so, the other two are, renewals. One is for the road commission renewal of .9769 for 4 years. And the other one's a transit renewal millage of .2471 for 4 years. Wayne Nelson was reappointed to the building authority. We paid claims last week of $771,629.99. We will be having a special meeting on the 30th to consider ratification of contracts, because there's 14 contracts we have to ratify before the end of the year, or else people won't be working starting January 1st. So we'll have to have a special meeting for that. And one other thing that you need to be aware of, there's a resolution that is in the state trying to change our terms to 4 years instead of 2 years. We're actually one of 3 states in the United States where county commissioners serve 2-year terms, not 4 years. So they're going to try to change that. So other than that, everybody have a Merry Christmas. Any questions? All right, thank you.
Gary, would you like to have you guys in human services, please?
Evening, everybody. Dean was not able to make it here this evening, so he volunteered me to give his report. Actually, there's not much of a report. However, he wanted me to make sure that everybody was aware that there are new leaflets or folders out for showing all the different services of Van Buren County for the senior community. He's given some of those to the fire department as well as Jason, our deputies, so that when they come in contact with people that may need those services, they can distribute them. Last month, I'm going to save that for last. Also, you might have noticed the sort of like pantry there. Laura Lee Adams and Ken Heinzman has been setting that up and donating the canned goods and the foodstuffs there for people that may need it and come in during the Christmas holiday time. And it's available to them and they stock it. So that's a really nice thing to do during this time of year. Also, the same two, Laura Lee and Ken, have announced, and I hope I'm right on this because they're not here. I don't see them. Oh, you're Ken.
You're doing great, except for my last name. But you're doing great.
You pronounce it?
Heineman.
Heineman?
Heineman.
Heineman.
Yeah.
I apologize. They are willing to, and have made mention that they're going to, correct me if I'm wrong, pay for the seniors' portion of their cost for the meal for the month of December at the Congregational Church in Grand Junction.
Wonderful.
So I think...
We're going to do what?
Pardon? So, all kidding aside, I think they deserve a round of applause. That's a friendly bark.
Yeah, our goal is this becomes more of a community program. We are going to do our very best to keep these shelves full, and we want this to be open, that anybody that comes in that just really needs emergency food, because we know that there's plenty of need out there. But we would encourage all of you to, next month when you come in for a meeting or whatever, bring a can of food. I'll be at the door.
So donations are encouraged then?
Donations, yes, because this needs to be a community project.
Sure. And lastly, last month, if you remember, Dean did announce that he was going to have an activity or a contest to give out prizes, the person, a first and second prize, to the person or persons that had contacted the most senior people to advise them of the services that are available in the township. So at this point, I'm gonna ask, and this is on the honor system now. For anybody that did that, raise their hand.
John's behind you.
That's
Okay,
because he
John.
talks to himself all the time.
Then when you're 85, you contact seniors.
Yeah, right.
How many did you contact?
14.
14. He's gonna be number one pick, and I think the second prize, unless there's a, what's the word?
Booby prize?
What?
Competition for it?
No. An objection, let's say that. That I think that Ken should have the second prize.
Well, Laura did tell her husband about those programs. I think it was to get him out of the house.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Any other questions?
I would like to say one thing about the Hallelujah box over at the church. I have gone there, and a lot of times it's not full. And you say, well, John, why do you call it the Hallelujah box? Because when a guy opens the door and sees what he needs, he says Hallelujah. So that's why I call it that. But maybe we could shift some of that to the church, because that box is used a lot. And I noticed recently it's not full.
John, since you're number one, you can have a pick.
Oh,
They're not marked one or two.
male or female, or you no? Okay.
Do I have one?
Okay, thank you.
Knowing Gene's sense of humor.
You're beautiful.
As long as it doesn't fly over here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Doug?
The, road commission is, busy right now, boom mowing primary roads, get the brush knocked back in, Colbert, Hartford, and Bangor townships. We're doing various ditching on primary roads in the northern half of the county. Tree trimming and removal on County Road 388 and in various locations in South Haven and Colbert. Our hiring process for a new manager director, we're down to 2 people. We'll be interviewing them Thursday afternoon. And then we have a regular meeting Thursday evening. I don't know if we're gonna vote that night to make a selection or wait a few days. See how this will be second interviews with these 2 fellows. And then I see you have on your agenda the resolution for County Road 388. And as Linda, you're aware, I know of a little change on 388. The last 1.25 miles in Bloomingdale Township, the road commission acquired a grant for 2021 to have that completely rebuilt instead of just the milling and the double seal coat like we're doing to the rest of it. That'll be funded with, that's a $1.1 million project for 1.25 miles. Yeah, isn't that ridiculous?
Yeah, but I've got a grant to cover.
You wonder why we can't rebuild all the roads in the county, there's why.
You got a grant to cover.
Are there
the
more
whole
grants?
amount or percentage?
Pardon?
The whole amount of the percentage.
No,
Percentage of it.
the $714,000 was the grant, and the road commission will be contributing $476,000 towards the project. So, that last 1.25 miles will be delayed for a year, but it will be a complete rebuild job, so that'll be better. And because of that, I think that, where 388 makes the turn to the south, where it's 46th Street, I think we're gonna go, north on County Road 390, that, quarter, short half of a mile, and mill that and seal coat it, and then 390 turns back to the east. Well, from that corner on to baseline, Bloomingdale Township is planning to, put a cap of asphalt on that.
Awesome.
So that'll tie, doing that little chunk of 390 will tie it to that.
There'll be more of it.
Yeah, and then Allegan County did 46th Street 5 or 6 years ago, and that's nice all the way to 108. So the people from Pullman going to Bloomingdale schools will have a nice route all the way through there. So it'll be a real good, tying everything together there. It'll be real nice when it's done. So,
I noticed Sunday in the Tribune that the road commission printed their way of snow plowing. And I think if you can get a hold of that column, it really answers a lot of your questions as to what roads are being done and why and that type of thing. But it was in the South Haven Tribune Sunday. And they got some up there at the corner that are free. So all you gotta do is grab what's there and take them, and it's on the second page.
that's in the Tribune, the South Haven? I'll have to get my hands on it, I haven't seen it.
Just stop up on the corner and turn, and the papers are sitting right there.
Okay. It's not the routes, is it just,
Not the route, it's the way they're doing things.
Yeah. Takes so many inches
Yeah,
to plow on a
exactly.
weekend,
Yeah, yeah.
and, okay.
I have a quick question, Doug. I'm hearing, and I'm trying to find out if it's true or not. Did, the people who are acting in place of the manager that you're trying to replace, did they just approve themselves a $5,000 a year in bonus?
No.
They didn't approve a bonus?
No.
Did someone else approve a bonus for them?
The two people of that, no, one person of that group and one of the secretaries just got a pay raise, but that's all that's happened since. Yeah. That brought the one person, it brought him up with the other counties around us, or it actually didn't bring him all the way up, it brought him closer to the counties around us that are,
Median pay.
people that have the same jobs, yeah.
Do you guys have any plans for County Road 215?
I've got to research that, I'm trying to get into my memory bank, I think there is something on it for the next budget year, but don't quote me on that, I'll check on it and let you know. I know there was a lot of discussion about it. And I think there was discussion with you, Linda, the day that we met here, yeah, about 215. I just can't remember exactly what it was.
And County Road 380, I see that you guys picked back up on the tree work again.
Well, yeah, we had to, in the summer, the bats, yep, we had to wait for that date again. And so, when, in the winter, there's not as much, going on unless it's snowing. So when it's not snowing, slower days, they've been out there cutting trees. And
Could you refresh me on when that was expected to be a road again?
we don't have a date, but as
A
soon
year,
as possible. We gotta get the trees and, if you notice, they cut them off high.
Yeah, I saw
So the
that.
excavator has leverage
Yeah.
when they come through and do the ditching and so on. So we're doing the tree work, and we got the ditching work to do, and then the, asphalt. After all that's- Who handles the Calhoun Trail? The Department of Natural Resources.
Okay.
The road commission does not do that
Well, I
anymore.
saw the truck on there the other day, and they were clearing it and stuff like that.
Yeah,
For the snowmobile.
yeah, it's not under the road commission anymore.
All right.
Thank you, Doug.
Yep.
Moving forward. correspondence and announcements, did you guys get any correspondence or something? I know that we did get one from Mrs. Harrison, a question on the petition. And speaking with the attorney, they addressed this 2 months ago, and the petition was not according to the election law.
No.
Yep. And then should we read it out loud then?
Sure.
Did John, did you get a copy?
He did.
She's reading it before we.
Oh.
So is that gonna be discussed then, Linda, under the, discussion 3? Is that what that is?
I don't
The no
know.
petition is listed there?
Yeah, actually, I did speak with the attorney, and at this point, it is, the petition was invalid because it didn't comply with the election law. So if they want to redo the petition, they're more than welcome to do that.
And we did discuss that at a previous meeting, and,
Yes, we did, 2 months ago.
May I address this, please?
No,
Excuse
I
me?
believe we gave not public comment right now. We're in board discussion.
I believe we gave Ms. Harrison some information as far as filing a new petition. So this is on the discussion item, on the agenda for discussion.
Third item on
Yeah.
discussion.
In discussion, so I
Okay, we'll
just, it
circle
was,
back to that.
yeah, it was brought up as a correspondence. Just wanted to address that as well. Moving forward, supervisor's report, we've got pending litigation, we have 2 cases. And the second one was served last week, on FOIA issues. Also, I attended the second meeting with 7 other townships regarding FOIA with the Grand County Road Commission. I met with our road committee on the 21st, and thanks to Kevin Cross for joining our road committee. Reminder that our budget meetings are coming up soon, so our planning commission, DDA, board review, and fire department, please submit your budget wish list. So, blight is a big issue in our township right now. We did a big spring cleanup that helped a little bit, but it seems right now we've got more dumping going on in our township. So if you see any, we ask that you take a picture and send it by email to us so we can get that taken care of as quickly as possible. Also, is that just dumping, Linda? Yes, dumping. Grand County Road, Commission still came in for our Little Bear Lake access that we had redone. It was estimated at $9,537, but it came in a lot less, came in at $3,314. I did meet with Keith at both lake accesses, and he's going to be putting up new signs and placing permanent markers for where the surveys are at. Just a quick reminder, blight, our Officer Moni handles all of our blight, so if you have any questions, we want to make sure we direct those to him. Zoning complaints go to Tasha, our zoning administrator. So, having any questions, just let us know.
So those dump photos that you were just talking about, do those go to Jason directly then, or do they come through here?
They come through here. They're going to be sent to me, and I will forward them to Jason.
Yeah, the $3,000 lake access, what exactly what that was?
That was to widen it, cut fresh gravel down, and resurvey the stakes.
Okay, then I just put our sign down.
Yeah, we'll just put our sign up now. Our clerk is not here. Treasurer's report.
Okay, bank balances and check register reports are part of the consent agenda. I'll just make a comment. Last time we talked a little bit about the reconciliation between the tax fund and the ambulance refunds that we were doing. I have made that transfer now, but it didn't happen until December, so it will appear on the next month. The board did not hold any special meetings since we last met in November. The winter tax season runs from December 2nd to March 2nd this year. In 2016, I fully intended to fulfill at least one 4-year term. As announced in November, I do not take resignation lightly, gaining peace only with the prospect of lifting a dependable employee to the next level. I had hoped that we would discuss the best way to address the treasurer vacancy last month. Meanwhile, I confirmed with both MTA and our attorney Homier that any board member can make appointment nominations and that I may participate in discussion but cannot vote on my replacement. I've heard that there's some interest in advertising, and I respect that suggestion to open this appointment up to citizens. And I would not support skipping that myself if I hadn't already done it when looking for a deputy. Both in January and September, I did advertise for that spot. Also, we're not required by statute to advertise. And if we did not have such a logical replacement right in our midst. But out of respect for the electorate, I have been mentoring Deputy Collins in the hope of a more seamless transition. I do acknowledge that it's a board decision, not my decision. Rhonda is already a trusted employee and has taken her deputy appointment very seriously. She could begin as early as January 3rd, but with her help, I could extend my effective date to give the board 30 days to fill this vacancy, which would put it into after the next meeting. Please consider the following. Special meetings, interviews tend to present internal friction and Open Meetings Act risk. So if the board decides to go forward in that route, I would recommend combining it with a budget meeting. Those tend to be a little more benign. The winter tax season is already underway, and tax statements dictate that collection must occur Tuesdays from 9 a.m. to noon, plus 9 to 5 on both December 27th and March 2nd. So that's non-negotiable. Those are already on all the bills and required by law. Appointee will have to handle cash and work in cooperation with the clerk for checks and balances. Appointee will have to settle tax season with the county in March and cooperate with CPA for annual audit this summer. And MTA is offering an authorities and responsibilities class in Kalamazoo. I was thinking it was on January 28th, but I believe it's actually 15th. So those are just thoughts to consider when we get to that point on the agenda. On a totally separate note, Bloomingdale Communications did indicate the possibility of fiber optics grant is definitely not just on the table. It kind of sounded optimistic, I would say, and I'm looking at you, Christy, because I think maybe you know. But anyway, so stay tuned for that. That could be really helpful for the community. I hope that goes through.
John, what you got for us tonight?
Well, I feel that Sharon has done her super job, and also Rhonda, but I feel we should have a letter of intent on anybody that wants to have that position, that they should send a letter of intent with their qualifications, and that way the opportunity is open. That's all I'm saying.
Anything on the cemeteries or
Hmm?
any business on cemeteries or?
Oh, yes. The other thing is, this is the time of year, and it's my mindset again, I'm back in the 50s. If I can't see it, touch it, or feel it, I ain't buying it. But, there's a lot going on with things coming over the internet and being delivered to homes and stuff like that. Now, be careful, because if you're not there and that package is, somebody is gonna watch it and somebody's gonna see it. So I want you to be very, very vigilant if you're getting things delivered to you, that someone is there to accept them, because otherwise, anybody can, and you've seen it on television, you've seen, they go by the house, they see the package, they look around, and it only takes them 10 seconds to jump up there and get something, so be careful. And the other thing I want to remind you of, we are in the era where everybody is looking at a glass and all that. I'm not. So when you say to your neighbor, or when you indicate, or you go ahead and Twitter or tweet, we're gonna be gone for 2 weeks, and I want you to keep an eye on the house. Somebody else is gonna be right there seeing that, okay? So what you wanna do is call them on the phone and tell them that you're going away. You don't Twitter or tweet, because somebody else is listening, so don't give them the opportunity, because the minute they hear, all right, he's gone, they'll send a car, and then they'll check out, and then even if you say, on the phone, and your neighbor says, yeah, I'll keep an eye on the house, they work maybe, and they're gone. So be careful that you don't put that out there. And then if you do get gifts, like a television or something, don't put the empty box out in front of the house. That is something you don't want to do, because that, again, is just a sign to somebody that you got a new TV, or you got whatever it was is out there in a big empty cardboard. So be careful, and it's dark early. Make sure your property is well lighted. If you're out on the road and it ain't so much for us because we have cars, the kids gotta have reflective wear on them, so when headlights hit them, I have almost hit twice a kid on a bike with a black hoodie, and if they would have had a green stripe or yellow stripe or something like that, then you're aware and, oh, okay, just slow down. So those are just some things I want to throw out. And Jason is doing property checks. And if you're not on the list to do property checks, he will be glad to do that for you. That's it.
Thank you. Beverly?
As far as the planning commission goes, we had a public hearing December 10th to consider the application of True Organic LLC for a special land use, commercial medical marijuana grow facility. We did review the packet. They had their pre-qualification letter from Lara. We had the site plan, the confidential security plan. We went through the special land use requirements that Tasha had already been through. They did meet all the requirements. The planning commission found that all the conditions for the special land use were met. The application was approved to send to this board for our consideration. I received an update on maps from the county during our regular work. New maps will be available to us soon. We're hoping to also be able to get maps that include floodplains, as well as publicly owned spaces and lake accesses, and that wouldn't just be township owned, it would be publicly owned, such as the trail, DNR properties. We continued, but not have yet completed work on Section 8 future land use, and there was a brief discussion on choosing a different meeting day for next year, which will be done in January. And then the other thing that I have going on is the reverted properties. Rhonda did a nice letter to go out to the adjoining landowners, because we wanted to give them a first shot at purchasing those properties, because it makes sense, because a lot of them are unbuildable, they're no good to anyone else, they're 30 and 50 foot wide. However, to add to their own lot, that might make sense, and be a lot better for the township than us continuing to get this revolving door of these reverted properties that aren't useful to anyone except the person who happens to live next to them. I did come up with a little hitch though on if they would like to purchase the property, what would be their next step? Do we set the minimum price as the land value? Because I wanted to include a little map that highlighted the lot next to their lot, circle their lot, highlight the lot that is for sale. And then do we include on the bottom what the minimum current land value is, or do we consider bids for less? So that is something that we probably need to discuss with the board. I'm not comfortable in making that decision on my own, so that's where I'm at with that.
Will it be an auction? Is that how it will go?
It would be like a silent bid type, where they would send down a little symbol of their bid, and they would open it and make a decision on who they want.
Yeah, because there would be, yeah, that makes sense, right? You're helping answer one of my questions. And we can't think alone, because we're not allowed to make these decisions on our own for good reason. So there might be more than one person, because if the lot is in between two people that are both connected to it, both of them may want it, so that would solve that problem, the one with the highest bid. And when there's sealed bids like that, there's no chance for being accused of anything unethical.
It has to be a sealed bid.
And then would we do it at two different times? First, for the Columbia Township property owners that are connected to the reverted properties geographically, and then another one after, if we set a time limit on that, they do that, or maybe even no one bids on it, we don't know, and then the next one is open up to the general public, which would include a newspaper ad advertising it, possibly a list on our website, a list here in the office. I think a list in the newspaper would be a bit expensive, and it probably isn't necessary, because it's just gonna be a bunch of lot numbers.
So, I would make a suggestion, maybe we write up a procedure that we would like to do and bring it back.
That's available at the township hall,
Yeah, something simple so that we can get this done in the next 2 months, get this out there and.
By next month, bring it back to the board, a procedure on what we think should be done, and then something that either approve it or may change it.
And I saw in the packet you have further new reverted properties, and is that gonna be on, for discussion tonight? Because I would like to discuss that. Okay.
Beverly, is the map that we have in our folder the one that you okayed?
That one?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's, okay. So we got everything we need, basically, to make a decision.
Yeah.
Oh. Boy, I'll tell you.
Okay, moving
Talk about
forward.
Fort Knox. Whoa.
Okay, at this time, we're gonna take a 3-minute public comment to the board.
All right. Well, first I'd like to bring up to the people that there seems to be a little bit of misappropriation of funds, that the ambulance is being paid for out of the fire department funds. And, once again, 3 fires for the month, the average of 3 fires for a month, for the year. 2 fire departments that we're paying for that are really doing nothing. And, as far as for the people being paid their checks, I understand that they're not putting, and I was at the meeting when it was in front of the board about the people not putting in their money and their receipts to get paid. And they shouldn't get paid until their receipts and everything match up with what they're supposed to be putting in to get paid back. It's called per diem. Missing funding of credit cards. I don't know, I remember recalling, it's a fire chief that bought a GoPro on his credit card. It wasn't supposed to be on there. Once again, misappropriation of funds. We keep paying for fire certifications, and they don't stay here. We're running a certification school that we're paying for all this. All these kids, all these people that we're signing up, none of them are here, they're gone. They get the certification, and they go get a better job somewhere else, they don't stay here. They should have a contract with us, or with the township.
Maybe it's lack of respect.
Yeah, this ain't South Haven, this is Grand Junction. Let me see, what kind of fire chief leaves a rental house with total garbage in front of the house for someone else to pick up? I don't get that either. And there better be a public apology for the copy of that text when it shows up by the fire chief.
I'd like to respond to one of their comments to the board if I could. When I left the rental house, we left the spot was clean.
It was nothing but a pile of garbage. I had to call Blight.
The landlord then took things from other residents, because he owns multiple residents, dumped it all there, and is now cleaned it up and remodeling the house.
Straight up liar.
Anybody else with any comments? Okay, moving forward. Everybody have an opportunity to look at the consent agenda items. I see that I don't have a copy of the minutes from 11/19.
That's gonna be my question.
I don't have a copy, so we'll table those, we'll remove those and table it. Have a motion
For what?
to table the minutes from, to pull the.
If we got minutes.
We do not have minutes.
We don't have minutes from 11/19.
Then
So I'd like to pull those from the consent agenda and make a motion to table those to next month.
Yeah, I second
All in favor, John?
it, yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Linda? On the remaining items of the consent agenda, has everybody had an opportunity to review those expenditures? And if so, do I have a motion to accept?
I make the motion, we accept.
Second.
Thank you, Karen. All in favor, John?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Linda, yes. Motion carries. Any additions or corrections to the agenda? I have one addition to new business. Renewal for the township liability property insurance with MML. Where would that be? 10?
New business 10.
New business 10. Renewal for the township liability property insurance with MML.
Okay. And I'm looking at a couple items that were requested. Most of them are on here. But I think we should at least touch on the comments being made. I've heard the term misappropriation of funds twice tonight, and I think it relates to, the fire department, ambulance, the way it was set up in the first place, and the payments. We probably should at least talk about it a little bit. And also, maybe somebody, well, yeah, that could be just discussion. I don't think there's anything to do with it other than to just acknowledge it. And also, do you folks recall, I was thinking we had given a current new electrical contract to Mr. Winchester. Well, we don't have one back from him, so. He's been in contact with us because we've been asking for a signed contract. So I don't know, I thought maybe I might have forgotten, but I know the clerk was asking for it and he has not turned it in yet, so. Yeah, there's not a whole lot more to say than that, but we should get that wrapped up.
So we're doing a motion to approve this agenda.
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, John? Beverly?
Yes.
Linda, yes. Moving forward, our discussion item, the Johnson Blight. Jason, do you have some information on that, other than, I know that he's working on it, I know he's clearing property.
Yes, Mr. Johnson is in the process of, he has cleared his property, he is leveling the dirt, and he has plans to put up a large pole barn to start housing some of the items in his yard. He is still in the process of leveling the dirt, and after that is completed, and weather permitting, he will be obtaining a building permit from the township so that he may start building his large pole building to take care of the items in his yard.
Thank you.
Is that Lonnie or Chester or some other Johnson?
That's gonna be Chester.
Chester.
What about Lonnie?
Any other questions on that? Update on the committee for the adult recreational marijuana? Beverly?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. I plan on trying to have a first committee meeting right after the first of the year. Right now, a couple of people have stepped up and said they are interested, so I'm trying to get about, 8 people, something like that. It's nothing official. It's going to be a discussion committee. We're gonna plan some ways to get the community out, get some more input to decide if we want to opt in to any parts of the adult recreational marijuana laws. To part of that, we have had a medical marijuana grower that would like to be able to have a few more plants that are designated towards the recreational so that they could be sold in the recreational market, because right now they can't. When you're going medical, it has to stay medical. And I feel like it's a decision whose time has come, because the way the law is written, if people decide they want this in the community and we don't, and we just decide to just stay opted out of every little bit of it, which we can choose to do that, but if we do, they do have the right to make a petition and get this on the ballot and have people come out and vote, and they could force opt-in on all of it if they wanted to. So I think it's a decision that the community needs to come together and make in a thoughtful way and hopefully a peaceful way, something that makes sense for everyone. Not just the medical growers, not just the people who are anti-marijuana, not just the people who love adult recreational. It's got to be everybody coming together, and I'm hoping that's what we can get. And I figure it should just be a few meetings, and it would be here at the hall. We'll have it in evening time or a Saturday or whatever we can find that works for the majority. So that's where I'm at yet. Right now, I just wanted to kind of get through the things we have currently going on and Christmas, and then get back to business again.
Shirley, the one that's, asked to grow the plants that's already a medical marijuana, is that something we have to, in the future do, or is that something we can do because she's already a medical marijuana?
No, the people who are, were you asking me, or were you? The people who are already licensed?
Yeah.
You mean, they are already licensed to grow medical marijuana.
Yes, I know that, but now if they wanna opt in and get regular, do we have to redo that? I mean, if you
No, we
want
don't have to
grow more
redo
plants-
the medical. What it would be is they're asking if we would opt into the recreational to the class that they're in with medical, which is the lower amount of plants, so that they would be allowed
Yes.
to sell some of their plants to the recreational market, because now that the recreational is available, they are probably going to lose a lot of customers. Because why pay for a license if you could just go to Bangor and buy it?
Yes.
But however, they can't sell it to the Bangor adult
No.
market, they can
Yeah.
only sell it to the medical market. So that's, and we get booklets on this if you you want something, John, from, MSU, the things that we get every month on zoning and stuff, they're usually sitting in the office.
Anybody else have anything on that?
Well, I would just comment, you used the word thoughtful, and I'm just glad to hear that, because there can be some pressure to hurry up and do this, and then we make mistakes. So I'm glad that you're gonna get a committee, get more opinions, and go forth that way.
Next thing is the rate sale petition. Did you guys have any other discussion on that?
Well, I saw Mary at the door on the way in, and I mentioned that I thought when we met the last time, when she attended one of the meetings, I thought at that point she was going to redo her petition, but apparently that's not the desire.
Not what my attorney recommended.
Your attorney wants you to push forward the one that was already sent?
Because it was validated and approved in October of last year, okay? And I was not sent anything from the township board stating otherwise at any point in time. There is no mention of it in your meeting anywhere in your minutes at any point in time other than the brief announcement of it by the supervisor in September when it was brought here to the township by me.
Well, we did at the meeting that you attended.
Yes, that was in October. That's a
Right.
year later though, Karen. You can't wait
Right.
a year to
No,
move
I
a petition
understand that.
forward.
That's true. The last thing we knew is what we got from our attorney. And of course, he was saying it was not a proper petition.
But what I'm asking the board is why has it taken y'all a year when that petition was approved and validated and approved? It should have went
So
forward.
it did go to,
It didn't go anywhere. Y'all stalled it.
Back when it first came in, it did come to the board. We did discuss it here at a board meeting, whether it made it to the minutes or what, I don't know. But it evidently did not. We did discuss it. It was discussed back when we first got it, that it was not.
we record all of our meetings, so
It's
if it
not-
doesn't make it to the minutes, it can be proved if we had a discussion.
Right.
It will be on the video.
My recollection is that you kind of waved it off, dismissed it as invalid. And
It was.
She can't just do that.
No, I did talk to the attorney back then when it happened, and it was discussed then that it was not valid.
So may I ask the board, why wasn't I
However,
notified?
it was turned into the clerk,
Why wasn't I
and the clerk
notified?
did turn it into the county.
yeah.
And the
No,
county.
the county never received it. And I told her, I got
That's not
Susie on
true.
recording
I've been in
saying
communication with
Susie
the
never
county clerk.
received it. I got her on recording saying she never received it, that you guys have it here at the township and it never moves
You
from
have
there.
a phone recording of the county clerk?
Yep, I sure do. To prove that she actually said that it never was brought there by this township board, which is what my attorney
Well, I have
advised me to
emails
do.
from the county clerk acknowledging the petition and.
Never
saying
went
that
there.
it had problems, so.
It never went to the township. Y'all stalled it here, and if you want me to file a lawsuit, so be it. This is on y'all, and y'all can explain to the township why y'all are gonna cost them thousands and thousands of
Duly
dollars.
noted, thank
You
you.
can't do this. It's illegal, and you can't do
Duly
it.
noted, thank you.
Outside for a second, honey.
Moving forward, to Councilman
Yeah,
Watson.
better move.
Can I say that I was the one advocating for her petition because I don't want people to not have their right at the poll if they have a right to bring a petition?
Thank you, Beverly.
And I do believe the county clerk did receive it.
I
Not
have it
timely.
in an
I don't
email.
think it was timely, but she did receive it.
You find out who you talk to and let her find out who she's talking to.
Well, there's only one county clerk.
Yep, thank you.
And only one township clerk, so.
So let's move forward.
Do we have a lost and found policy, resolution, anything?
Nothing in my,
Not that I know of.
Do we need one?
Well, something was left behind here one day, and I thought for sure somebody would call and say, did I leave that down there? It's been a couple of months, somebody has collected it, it's probably worth I don't know, $50 anyway. So, I don't know how to proceed. I think Rhonda put a note up on the door for us, just if you left anything behind. Maybe other people have companies that have policies, if there's a certain number of days and nobody collects it. We, tried to find out if there's any identifiers on it and found none. On the other hand, if somebody called in and said, oh yeah, that was mine, there would be a few questions we could ask to know it was the real owner.
Right.
But I don't know what to do. It's something of some value to somebody, don't know how to find the owner. I've kept it locked up, waiting for somebody to
And that
respond.
makes sense. I think that's the best we could do.
So let's go ahead and just keep it
Yeah. Give it a year.
Well, that's.
What do, if
There
it's
should
small,
be a
it's not hurting
reasonable
anything.
time. Oh, no, it's not taking a lot of space, it's not a problem,
So, let's keep it posted. It could
just
be,
on the door.
yeah, it could be somebody that, maybe another person who travels out of the area. If it was during tax time, they would come back.
Yeah, maybe.
So let's give it a month.
Okay.
Anybody have any objections to that? Moving forward, treasurer.
Yeah, I have delivered a letter of resignation. Don't get me going. So I can read it, and the one thing missing right now is the effective date. To the Board of Trustees, I've always taken my work personally, so struggled with this decision, but after prayerful consideration, I have chosen to add my name to a list of officials and professionals that have disengaged themselves from this administration. Upon acceptance of this resignation, I respectfully request that Board consider engaging our CPA to perform a cash balance test to protect both outgoing and incoming treasurers, compel clerk to finalize my prorated retirement contribution and release funds before the end of our fiscal year, which is March 31st. Consider sending appointee to the MTA conference on January 15th. We could actually sign up for that before we know who the person is and put their name in, you know, if we make the decision by then. I will continue to advocate for our community and will support a more harmonious combination of officials in 2020.
Do you have a, effective date?
Well, as I mentioned in my report, I know that it's not required to go through the advertising and interview process, but that takes time if the board wants to do it that way. The clerk is not here now, but I believe she was one of the people that did want to do it that way. And so 30 days, I believe, is the time period in which the board should have that much time. And if we look at where that falls with our next board meeting, it would be, 30 days would be just about the same time as the board meeting, so I might as well come one more time. But I was thinking then, if you guys think you can make this decision, come to an agreement by the 23rd, then the person can start on the 24th
Of this month?
of January.
So
Oh.
when would
So that gives slightly.
Yeah, I understand, but a letter of intent does not require us to interview. All it is a letter of intent comes in, and we got them in front of us, and then we make a decision.
So you're saying that's as an alternative
Yes.
to interviews?
Yes.
So that would not require a
It
special
does
meeting?
not require an interview.
or a special meeting?
I am totally opposed to special meeting of any type at this point, because
It could be done.
We've had a few problems. Yes.
So, actually, we need to know what your effective date is, so we can.
Well, I was trying to be considerate of you guys with the selection to know how you wanted to do it. But the 30 days, I saw in the law that you guys really should be able to come to a decision by then.
That would mean that we would set a date for the letter of
Next
intent.
board meeting. I feel like there would be 9 months left. Rhonda's already been getting training for a couple of months. I don't see the point by the time someone gets placed, gets training. Rhonda's been trained from Karen, she's been trained from Jerry.
So to make
And
it.
she can get along with everybody, which is amazing.
And the main thing is she's honest, and I don't see her.
So we do have one issue, and that is transparency. That seems to be a big issue.
Are we being transparent right now?
We are, but I'm just saying, that seems to be a big issue in the township.
Going through a BS process, if we're going through a process for the show, it's not transparent. If we're really gonna go through the process, then go for it. If not, I would say, I would make a motion to put Rhonda as the interim treasurer.
We can't do that. Not just listed her resignation.
Well, the resignation is here, it's just a matter of filling in the blank, and I was trying to find out, depending on which route you wanted to go, how much time you would need.
So I would strongly suggest that we do a letter of intent and get the letters in here, have them ready for the next meeting, and make that decision, depending on when your termination date is, because we can't replace you until you actually terminate.
No, I know. I was trying to make it be mutual and
Okay, well.
consideration.
And Rhonda wants to be on this, she can put a letter of intent in, anybody can put a letter of intent in.
Well,
But what is a letter of intent going to tell us about the other person unless we at least?
They're gonna put their qualifications down there and why they think they should be a treasurer.
Or why they want to be on the board, why they want to serve.
That's the letter of intent.
Like the letter you were asking for when you advertised twice for a treasurer that might be interested in trying to
right,
learn about
right,
the.
and I concluded there's not a ton of interest, but maybe we'll be surprised, I don't know.
But the opportunity.
The more they come to these meetings, the less they're gonna want to
Right.
sign up.
So we can't really,
Gotta love it.
this letter of intent needs to be turned in until we have a resignation date.
I love transparency.
Yeah.
And I
do
would love us to have it all the time, in all ways.
I'm good. Well,
We're trying.
what we can do then, because whether they, did you want to make? Go ahead.
Sure. I make a motion to appoint Rhonda as the treasurer effective on the day after Karen's last day as treasurer.
Can't do that.
That ain't transparency.
Let me pick a date. Okay, I'll pick a date and you can restate your motion. Last day to be January 23rd. So it's past the next board meeting, but just barely.
So we can't make a nomination to appoint anybody until we go through everything, which is speaking with the attorney, we need to.
Oh, we can make a nomination, just like we made the nomination was made for medical marijuana without any discussion or anything ahead of time. It was just made, put on the table and decided. So no one has to support me in this. I'm making a nomination.
We still have to accept the resignation.
That we accept Karen's resignation effective January 23rd, 2020, and that we appoint Rhonda Collins as the interim treasurer for the remainder of her term, starting on January 24th, 2020.
I'm allowed to discuss.
And you can't vote.
Right,
understand
I
that.
think the only thing is calling it interim isn't right, because she would,
Oh.
she's the one, then it's not interim, she would be
She would be
appointed
treasurer.
and she would be the treasurer.
Just because, when did the next tax bills come out? April?
No, July.
Oh, okay.
No, the tricky part is right now, we're in the thick of things right now. And thank God she's helping me now.
Well, I made the motion. If there's a second or not,
I don't think I can.
no, you can't.
I will not second that, no.
No, I won't either.
Okay, move on.
So we'll set those, letter of intent.
I make a motion that we have a letter of intent, and I know that Rhonda's qualified, and I know that she is good at that. I just feel for transparency's sake, we should have a letter of intent. Put a date on it, when it has to be in by, and go that direction. That's my motion, to have a letter of intent.
I will second that motion.
They'd rather told him to say it.
Yeah. Roll call, John,
Yes.
Beverly,
Yes.
Karen can't vote. Linda, yes. Okay, so we get our letter of intent in here by the January the 14th,
Yeah, let's get it.
no, 7th, by January 7th. I give 2 weeks for everybody to review those.
Okay, it has to get public that we're going to ask for a letter of intent, correct?
And could we receive a copy of the letter when you're actually here, not the day before the meeting?
Absolutely.
Whose attention are they going to?
Attention to the supervisor.
I think they should be copied to the clerk too.
Absolutely.
In the advertisement, it should say that.
Yes.
So do we need a motion for the newspaper ad or anything?
Yes. There's the name.
You're gonna advertise just in the Reminder or something in the Tribune?
Well, they both come out once a week. I like to remind her myself, but, sometimes in the Tribune, it can get lost.
I say we do both. But before we go too much further, we need to make a motion to accept Carrie's resignation. I will make that motion.
I knew you would.
Okay, but your last day to serve will be in January, right, John?
Yes, January 23rd.
That's it, okay.
What happens if we don't accept it? Karen hates it. We did that to poor Catherine.
Do I have a second for to accept Karen's resignation?
I'll second it.
All in favor, John?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Linda, yes. Now then, going back to the motion to place an ad in the Reminder and the Tribune, or do you guys just want to do the Reminder?
Hey, what now?
Do you want to do an ad both in the Tribune and the Reminder, or just the Reminder, we'll also place it on the website?
I think the Reminder's got the circulation, I mean,
Beverly?
It's more local, I don't know if it's considered legal, however, because it's an advertiser, I mean, if you're
yeah,
looking for
it's not illegal,
legality
it's
here,
not illegal, no.
probably want to do South Haven, maybe,
I would say one.
doing both, just don't make it a huge
Yeah,
ad.
keep it short.
And print it on the website, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
So I have a second, yeah?
I'll second that.
All in favor, John?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Karen? Linda, yes. Okay. Moving forward, next discussion item here is the fire department funds.
Well, it is unfortunate that things got sparked, in detention instead of discussing things in a more friendly way that sometimes we can solve things by being rational and professional, but sometimes not. I know it's been an issue, and the clerk isn't here to say anything, but it isn't a one-way street on things that are not done accurately and quickly on that. It does need to be better, but to the bigger question, back when we talked about this at budget time last year, when we started this program, as you might recall, the clerk, she's a payroll clerk, and this was gonna be special payroll just for this. And she did resist, she never wanted to do it this way. And it is her who's having to do it. And then the question came up, if we're even legally allowed to give these checks anytime other than our regular once-a-month court approval. And there is a resolution that tells us there's a few little things that we can pay just because they're due. And I think I have a copy of it. I'm gonna try to find it quick and dig it out, because it does not say anything for emergency responders. It says something about fire, and I'm gonna have to dig, and maybe we have to come back to this. I'm not sure.
But I thought medical first responders and the fire department were considered part of the fire department.
And I think that's
Yeah.
the one side of the argument.
They're
The
not
other
the
side is the
ambulance.
very
Two different
literal
entities.
They're
way
not
that it's
the
in there.
ambulance.
They're not riding an ambulance.
No.
Right.
Two different entities.
But I'm just bringing it up, that she's not just saying it with nothing behind her. There is some rationale.
In 2004,
Here it is, right here.
when the,
It says firefighters.
when Station 2 was built, it wasn't, we were just Columbia Township Fire Department. It was amended in 2004 to be Columbia Township Emergency Services, which encompasses fire and medical. And I believe when that resolution was created, we did not have the rescue yet.
But we renew this resolution every year. And the one for 2019 says firefighters. It does not say emergency medical.
When did they get renewed?
Every year, I think in March?
Yeah.
Yes, March.
So,
So
Before the
there's a
crowd's
couple
over.
things we could do. It could be written differently for the next year. But meanwhile, when people use the phrase misappropriation of funds, I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I don't think we're doing that.
they're liars.
Well, or is it a different way of looking at things? There are plenty of people that go by the intent of something, and there's other people that slice and dice and go to the tiny little. Yeah.
Lecture, yes,
And
yes.
sometimes it's whatever.
Either way, if you look at it as a whole or slice it apart, if it's incorrect, it's incorrect.
Right. So the thing is the only exception to our once a month are consumers' energy, telephone bills, propane, Department of Treasury, firefighters, election inspectors, post office, credit cards, internet, snowplow. Those are the only items that are on this list, and it's been year after year.
EFR is also firefighters.
There's the question I was gonna ask, are every one of the emergency medical responders also firefighters?
No.
They're not. So it's a technicality, and maybe we could simply amend the resolution.
That sounds right to me.
But I'm just saying that for somebody to object, they have something to fall on for why they would object. It's not like made up, it is a question.
When we started this in April of last year,
and we said we were gonna try a year of, the question I have is, didn't that imply that we were gonna do it the way we set it up to, every 2 weeks, so we talked about the pay at that point, and it was approved at that point as a trial basis. So I don't understand why we're getting this misappropriation when the trial year is not even over yet. We found some things that we knew we would.
Right.
So now we'll make those corrections, finishing up the trial period in the same time frame, and it should be.
Or the timing of it, that was April, this is December.
I mean, that's logical to me unless there's a new logic that we don't know, you know. That's great we found that error and we fixed it. No big one. Nothing's been done wrong because it was a trial thing that the board approved anyway.
And I think we were of the impression that this did cover that.
Yeah.
So the question has been raised, does this technically cover it or not? And we can amend it or not, but I'm just saying, I know what the argument is, and this is it. At least that's my understanding of what the argument is.
I think we need to amend it.
Yeah.
Somebody did some listings or something that,
I think we need to amend it.
just add,
So we wanna add that to new business, or just,
He's done that.
We can, it wasn't on the agenda.
we can definitely add, I guess, no? So let's do this, let's get all of our ducks, let's get the new typing of it first, and bring it back next month, and we get that corrected.
Okay, that's resolution number 2019-06, I believe.
So we'll make sure we get all of that corrected language, as it should be, we'll bring it back next month.
I have a question, is the issue that the paychecks are every 2 weeks?
Yes, it's because it's its own pay
So is it
cycle.
the
Everybody
second
else
paycheck
is-
that's late? Or
It's
the first
Miss
pay?
Beverly. And it is a combination of things. There is no one person who has made every mistake. There's not.
That's usually the way life is. so-
Right. So
Not
that's
good.
why it's a shame when it gets so,
There was only one perfect person, and look what they did to him.
right.
Moving forward?
So does that cover, at least, if anybody here was thinking, what's the appropriation of funds? It's a question mark, it's interpretation, I think, but.
I think we clear up the language in our resolution.
So basically, it's because the list of things that we're allowed to pay before we have this meeting and say, we approve paying our bills, the list of things on there said firefighters, it did not say the pilot program of emergency first responders that work for the fire department.
Right.
Because we didn't foresee this.
Right, and because it was the kind of resolution that just is a repeated one, so it really didn't get looked at closely about adjusting it for this year.
So at this point, we're gonna go ahead and set that for next month, we'll get the correct language in it, and then move forward.
Thank you.
Contract for the electrician. You guys have, you and Stacy have requested that several times for now.
Yeah, and I was just hoping by memory, you guys remember, did we not have one here at the table and approve one? I don't know if we had to write it for him, it seems like we
All it
did.
needed to be done is he needed to come in and sign it. You know, that hasn't happened, so, I will make contact with him, and we'll do it.
And check your files and see if you have one with a current date on it, or for this year. It could be that it's just the end of the year, and that we're 10 months into it and never had a signature.
Right. So let's get that cleared up with him. We'll give him 30 days. Any other issues here? Okay, so straightforward. Business, no call bids. I don't know that we have any. Because our clerk is now gone, and so much, she has them with us. So once again, we need to table this.
Well, meanwhile, we're just continuing with who we had because we have to.
We had some last year.
Maybe we won't have any
Do it.
snow.
He is agreeing to do it until we've got someone else, correct?
I knew, we're not gonna have to re-advertise again though, are we?
She's got the bed. That's in it. She's got one, and I have some Mr. Baxter.
Yes.
But I don't know if she has any others.
You know how tempting it was to hang on to that, and I didn't do it. I slipped it under the door.
So at this point, I need to make a motion that we need to table the snowplow bid until next month.
Okay.
Is
that a
okay,
second?
is okay a second?
I'm short timer, so I'm
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
There you go.
All in favor, John?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Karen, you can still vote yes.
Yes.
Rhonda's yes. Credit card policy. We've been working months on this credit card policy. I think we finally got
Yeah,
it down to where we're all in agreement with it.
Yep.
Yes. We acknowledged Beverly's comments from the last time or 2 times ago and got them worked in. And so it's revision 4.
Yep.
And I think we all have the same version in our packet.
And it was just defining what a pattern was, that was all, so that we
Yep.
had clear.
So do we have?
We better hurry up and pass it before we have to change the names on the bottom.
So do I have a motion to accept this credit card?
I make a motion to accept the credit card policy as written.
I'll second.
Yeah, I don't have a credit card.
So this would be a resolution? Next to it, please. Okay. Do we need to do a roll call? It would be John,
Yes.
Beverly,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Linda, yes. Moving forward, we have our zoning text amendment. This was sent to the county sent it back, and they had an unanimous vote to concur with our Columbia Township Planning Commission on a recommendation to adopt these text amendments in the zoning ordinance.
And so the planning commission and our zoning administrator and Catherine all.
Yes, it's coming to us so late because the county missed they missed getting it on the last agenda, and we just thought we should get it on their agenda so no one can say that we did it correctly.
No, it's good, we didn't take a shortcut.
Do I have a motion to accept it?
I make a motion to accept.
Do I have a second? All in favor, John?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Karen?
Yeah.
Moving forward. A letter to TRICARE for termination of services. I'd like to make a motion to terminate services for TRICARE.
I'll second that.
I do not have that.
Everything?
Yeah, it should say Columbia at the top.
It's in my name.
About as many papers as I got.
Here's an extra copy.
It wasn't in the box.
You keep switching your letterhead.
That's why I only put it on.
Well, this one has Kathy Curtis at the top, as trustee. So that was gonna be my other question. It had the 12th and it had certified mail, so I wasn't sure if you already sent it. Okay, so you're just gonna update that.
This is a draft copy of the letter that's been approved by the board. So we have a motion, and we have a second.
Did you say we do have a second?
We do have a second. So, roll call, John?
Yes.
Do you want discussion?
Discussion?
My one question is, are they in agreement with this? And
We did meet, but doesn't mean,
They understand, whether they agree or not is irrelevant.
We haven't met with them
Yes.
since we
Yes.
gave them notice, have we?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, they've met, we've met with.
Do they know where termination?
The two of us,
After.
when the four of us sat together,
That was the last time, wasn't it?
and it was, we discussed it then, that they had until,
Right, we gave them, I think we started off, we were gonna give them several months, and then it got
We
back
did.
down, and we were gonna have another meeting, and then we never had the meeting.
No, we had the
But-
meeting.
actually,
Well,
well, you weren't at that one, but yes, Linda, I, and Jeremy, and two representatives of Pride showed up to Station Two,
Okay,
and they were wondering what was going on, and,
so that was after they got their letter of
that
notice?
is true. Yep, letter of notice, they came, they hashed it out, and they said, they understood. I mean, they didn't agree with it, but they understood.
Yeah,
So, I mean, like we talked about before.
right.
It's always give us a few more months, we'll improve. It's been an ongoing discussion for years.
Right.
So no threats about coming back at us or?
Well, at the meeting all of us were at, they said if we weren't happy with them, they would
Come right back.
terminate the agreement
Yep.
without.
They would come right back, no big deal. It's, John, that's what goes on. One ambulance service leaves, another comes in, for whatever reason they leave, and the other one comes back.
Well, hopefully that won't keep.
I would hope not, I would hope not. Life is a pretty reputable company, so I'm pretty excited about this.
Any other discussion?
Just the timing coincides, so there's no lapse in coverage.
You get that worked out with
What's
this.
your effective date, Jeff, for this?
January first.
Yep, we're all set for that.
Now, see, this says terminated as of December 30th.
So, what's the next day?
Is that not right?
Yeah, it says December 30th.
That's one we're looking at here.
Okay, 31?
31.
And we're ready to cover today, so I mean, if something happens.
Right.
We just need to know, and we're happy to
Okay.
step up to this up there.
Any other discussion?
On determination? No.
Roll call, John?
Yeah.
Beverly?
Yes.
Lauren?
Yes.
Linda, yes.
Congratulations, you're part of this team.
Not yet, just rest in the-
Good God.
So moving forward,
Yes, let's move forward.
new business. We have a resolution. For, improvement of our roads.
I thought we did this.
Yeah.
We have to do a resolution.
Okay.
That's what you talked about.
And does this change at all from what Doug was saying?
No.
That's what you.
Because they,
He said there's a mile or something.
yeah, does that give us a
People in one
discount?
way, they're going the other direction.
Yeah, I'm sure this is gonna cost less now.
Just taking down.
Do you hear that, Doug?
Yeah.
So, the price is right.
Resolution will be?
They don't have it.
We don't have a number,
wonder what the resolution is
number.
gonna
I've got it.
No. Okay. Well, I was right there in the, okay. Yeah, I see it.
So I'm offering this resolution to partner with, Bloomingdale and to the Grand Blanc County Road Commission to mill and seal, chip and seal the County Road 388. Do we have a second on this report?
Now, second it.
All in favor, discussion?
You didn't have it in your package.
I can't find my copy it from the
Basically, it's what Doug
It's what
said.
we had agreed to earlier.
It's what Doug said.
idea, it'd be awesome to get that road done too.
Any other discussion?
Do you know what resolution number we're on?
I do not, and do you have any information? Any other discussion? This was cleared with the attorney. Roll call vote, Beverly?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Rita? Yes. Motion passes.
We can do it without a number on it?
Moving forward, contract for the Flex EMS services.
Oh, yeah, I did jump ahead.
So this was, for the attorney. Was there any questions on
This came from the attorney,
Yes.
all of this. You know, for what they charge, I had a few issues with some of their typos and things like that. Honestly, for that kind of money, that would be perfect. But, I guess it won't mess with the content.
All I looked at really on this is in our November packet, we had attorney comments, and then this one, they were incorporated in.
Yes.
So,
I do have a couple of questions of things I didn't understand in the contract, not too many. Is it all right if I ask them? Sure. Okay, it says here that life shall also, that you'll have the capability of backup for, scheduled maintenance, additional coverage. I'm on page 3A, under life EMS, your services and responsibilities. Under A, paragraph A, right down towards the end of the paragraph, I'm just trying to understand it. It says that you will utilize mutual aid for adjoining areas when it deems appropriate. And with the permission of Columbia, may adjust staffing levels in the future to reflect any increase or decrease in patient transport volume. Can you tell me what that means?
Yeah, absolutely. So essentially, if for some reason, say, a nursing home moved into the area and started a business here, we would need to add staffing to adjust for that. Or if for some reason, I don't know what would cause that, but a large population influx moved out of the township, that could adjust the need for staffing. Regardless, you're still going to need 24-hour service, so there'll still be a 24-hour ambulance available to you. That would be the minimum staffing level. We certainly hope that opportunities will present themselves down the road here with some of the adjoining neighbors that we could actually increase the staffing and improve the service.
And the mutual aid, that just means like if you get a call or there's something big happening in Gobles or...
So, for example, we have the Pine Grove ambulance, a Bloomingdale Township call goes out. Right on top of that, a Columbia Township call goes out. Well, we haven't had time to obviously move into the service area, so we would contact the neighboring service to help back up that call if it was on top of each other. But we generally try to provide our own mutual aid through our Allegan resources or Kalamazoo resources that move into the area to help out.
I was just wondering about, and we would be still covered somehow.
Yes, yep. Yeah, and that's routine throughout the county, throughout any county. Mutual aid is utilized. I mean, there are times where a call goes out, another call drops right on top of it, and nobody's had time to readjust resources in that time frame. So those things do happen.
In the last couple of months, we've had calls literally back to back on top of each other, and Life has been dispatched to a couple of our calls. And Chase has been dispatched to a couple of our calls.
All of the providers in the county work together to make sure that there's coverage.
Okay, and I have another question, and this is just a curiosity. It's on page 5, under Columbia's responsibilities, paragraph B, or item B, I don't know what you call it, B. And it says that, that the central dispatch, the county dispatch, that we will encourage them to not deny or discourage access to life EMS ambulances. And that Columbia shall not be liable or in breach of this agreement in the event that the county central dispatch fails to follow such direction. Do they ever do that? freebie?
No, so Van Buren Central does a good job overall, with their dispatching. Errors can occur from time to time. Basically, the intent of that, however, is just to say that Columbia Township and Life EMS have a recognized partnership in all calls, and that's actually a letter, we put together for the township supervisor that kind of directs those calls to be forwarded to Life EMS.
Okay. And in your experience, are they pretty on it there, our county dispatchers?
Yep, they're very much on it. When we have changed municipalities, provider areas here, we've not had any issues with Van Buren Central.
Good.
And that's part of the reason for the letter. So they send that letter out, that's the formal notice from the township that effective this date, which in this case would be January 1st, beginning midnight, January 1st, midnight of the 31st of December, we would take over the service in the area here.
Okay. And then finally, I'm sorry, for notice of, there's two things on page 11. One, really quickly, it says notice for termination, and notice is considered when something is dropped in the mail. That might not work too good around here with our mail. I just kind of thought that was, I don't know how putting something in the mailbox can be considered notice, but I guess if our attorney. And then the mediation, binding arbitration, have you guys ever been in a situation where you've actually used the mediator with anyone? That was it. That I had. Very thorough, I'm just curious
And
about
then
it.
if I may just make one observation there, the second page of the contract there does have a typo in existence under the term.
There's a few in there.
Yep, so that's just one that I happen to notice there, shall be commencing on January 1st, it needs to be 2020.
And there was one that my husband said, no, I think you're wrong, and I'm like, no, I'm right. It was a grammar error. Driving me nuts.
Anything else? Any other discussion?
I would just like to say that when we did go and see Life EMS facilities, I really encourage anyone from the community to go there, and I think they have kind of an open policy. And you did say that you were going to do some things here in our community, offer some education things to our
We're happy.
residents.
Yep, we have, in fact, like, for example, we're working on a CPR course right now with the Township of Pine Grove with their board. We put in place earlier this year an AED in that hall with their work, and now we're going to be doing an education session. We're happy to do those sorts of things throughout the community.
It seems like a top-notch operation. It's the best that I could tell.
Thank you.
So I'd like to make a motion to accept this contract for Life EMS.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? Roll call. John?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Karen? Yes. Edith? Yes. Congratulations, welcome aboard.
Thank you, and may I just say thank you to the trustees, thank you to the township. We're looking forward to serving the area. The crews are very excited to get started within the service of the area here as well. So from our family to yours, happy holidays.
Thank you. Moving forward. Special use permit for True Organics LLC. This is the one that was brought before the planning commission.
Yes, I looked at that very, very good, and, like I said, if you think Fort Knox is gonna be protected, let me tell you.
And John, we don't want to discuss any of their,
I didn't say we were.
right, any
I
of
just brought
their
up,
security is.
it's fine,
So,
and I will discuss it, it's fine.
so the planning commission went through and made sure that everything was in place and everything was correct.
Yeah.
So at this time, I'd like to go ahead and make a motion to accept this.
I make a motion that we accept the special use permit for True Organics LLC.
Maybe you want to
I'll
second
second that. All in favor, John?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Stacy? Karen?
Yes.
John? Okay, moving forward, we have a request for our snow plowing at the transfer station be increased to $75.
Why?
No.
What's he getting, what we charging now?
This is for him to do snow plow, the transfer station.
Yeah.
And he wants, to increase it to $75.
So it's not an increase that he's asking for?
That is increased for him to plow the transfer station.
I think maybe that great big snow in November did.
Right. Probably use up some of the budget.
Well, to me, you know, I understand Bush's problem here, and, I'm in agreement with it.
Are you making a motion to accept it?
I'll make a motion to accept it.
I'll second that.
All in favor, John?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
And yes. Motion passes.
Now we got the sex contract, the
Contract.
contract.
So the sexton is a cemetery sexton. I was approached by Mr. Gasper a few months ago about his CTE, recommending that he go to a 1099, and he was up in the air with it. He gave us two different things to look at. They were passed by the attorney. He said it was fine. He made the correction.
Which one was passed by the?
Both of them.
Both of them.
Are you saying that Keith presented this or somebody else wrote it for him?
He,
Or Jeff?
Jeff
Yeah.
brought it to me. When he typed it up, it was real messy.
So then you tell me.
And it was passed by the attorney. I met with Jeff and he reviewed it. It's up to, he said either way, you guys want to go, it's fine with him. The difference is with the 1099, this is how much you would get per month, the total per year. And if you went with the W-2, it was Keith, it would be $1,584 for 12 months, a total of 19. And he wants a 2% cost of living increase each year starting in 2021.
So did you compare this with our budget?
Not yet. Well, this,
Shouldn't we do that before we pass it? Okay. Just saying.
we'll get right to the budget, that's why I'm bringing it to you.
So this would not take effect until
Until the budget.
after the budget?
Right. You would have to change all the dates on it, on the effective date.
Can I get copies of it, please? You didn't get this one? No. No. It's not.
So then we would table this.
Yeah, we're gonna table it.
It wasn't there tonight.
So
So it's fine to introduce it is what we're doing.
So he's either going to be an employee or he's gonna be a contractor.
And CPA really is encouraging him to do the 1099 for his efforts.
Well, personally, I think that's better too. We don't control what he does really, and,
Exactly.
I think it says in here that we do though, is it on the 1099?
Well, you can fill out what his duties are and stuff, but if he's his own business, it would be 1099.
Oh, if this is going to come back to us on both of them, it says with case instead of with cause on the end. So if you're gonna get back into it and change dates or something anyway.
Maybe someone from the planning commission in that attorney's office, way too many typos.
Oh, no.
You guys, we look at that, and we're gonna bring it back next month. So we'll table this at this time, motion to table. Have a second?
Yes, I'll second that.
All in favor, John?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
We need to schedule our first budget.
Yes, we do.
Doing the budget, please.
Yeah, I would like to do that. On a Monday if we could, for the first one.
That worked out the best last year.
It did. And I'm thinking maybe the 6th or the 13th.
I'd say the sooner the better, so that we can have
The
as
sooner the
much
better.
Karen's expertise as we can get while she's still here for a month.
Sooner the better.
The first one being January 6th, maybe? And you want 10 or 9?
Or 11.
You guys do what you have to do.
Let's put it at 10 o'clock.
Remember, the first one's pretty long, and may I request that we
Yes.
not begin with fire department, no offense, but you've been
Right,
to those.
it took up the whole
That
thing.
takes the first meeting and a half, and I'm not saying you, I'm saying someone who helps you with the budget.
It's not happening this year.
Okay, then that might make it quicker, but because of that, that's why I was going to make,
Yeah, no, that's not happening this year.
it tends to really,
So make sure you guys all get your wish list in.
We call them need lists.
I was gonna say, wish list sounds like spend, that's not where we're headed, right?
So January 6th at 10 o'clock for the first one.
And
After that one, we'll let Leslie know. Yeah.
We don't have a meeting between now and then, so that might be an issue.
well, the budget won't be finished in one
Oh,
day.
yeah.
So did we set a date now for a first meeting?
I'm just saying, don't expect planning commission. anything
January 6th.
that
That's
date.
10 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
So do we have a motion to accept that date for the first budget meeting?
Yeah, kind of right. Okay.
Yes, if we need to make a motion, I will move that it, first budget meeting is January 6th at 10 a.m.
Are you making that first motion?
Yes.
Have a second?
Yep, I'll second it.
All in favor, John?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
There's coffee and donuts.
Moving forward. Properties deeded to Columbia Township.
Yeah.
We have several properties that are on satellite subdivisions that were not sold as property taxes. We have an opportunity at our time to either accept them or reject them. And if we reject them, we need to get a letter back to Mrs. Nassau right away so that she can.
Okay, I wanted to ask you, what happened? What's different this time now? Because, remember, I brought this up last time, that we should be rejecting these, but does she routinely do this, or did you ask her to do this, or? Because I would like her to do it every
They
time.
routinely do it. This is the first time that I've received it.
Okay.
I thought we got one last year.
I
I didn't go look for it, so I don't know.
I wasn't here last year.
I gave you guys a list of every one of the properties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. And it looks though they are all on the satellite subdivision.
Yep.
No, there's one that's on, Little Bear Lake again.
Not the last one, sorry. So what would this board like to do? Would you like to accept these or would you like to reject them?
So what happens if we reject them?
And the county is stuck with them.
County takes them.
Then do they pay taxes?
No. They'll probably put them back on there. They'll probably put them back in the next election.
So they'll try it again.
They'll try it again.
Well, like, this one is a 30-foot,
Yeah, that's the problem.
30-foot of road frontage.
I think it's swampy too.
I didn't have a chance to look at the maps to see like where they're located, what they're located next to, or,
Well, there is a timeline on this. We have to have it back to the by December 31st, so we need to make a decision.
well, I feel like when it's the vacant property, it's not so bad if it's not blighted. My thing with this was, I don't want us to get stuck with blighted property. We've got too much problems trying to clean up what we've already got. We can't get it cleaned up, so my thinking is if it's county-owned and it's blighted, we might be able to make the county clean it up. I don't know, but it's better than it
Well, if we
being
say no, then they got it.
Right.
That's the way I look at it.
So at this time, I'd like to make that motion to reject these properties.
I'll second
I
that.
don't know, I didn't get to look into any of them, but you're the one that's up with the rejected,
Okay.
the reverted ones now.
Here's what I was kind of thinking on this, Linda. Can we still have some discussion on
Yeah,
the
we're
motion?
discussing.
Okay. That, because the time is so short, and we just got this,
Actually, it initially came November 18th.
Oh, yeah.
okay, well, we just got it, to see it. Can we, and Stacy did give me a list of some properties, and I didn't match them up to see if these are the same, but I didn't have a letter or anything like this from the treasurer. Can we can't make a motion based on a what if, correct? So we can't go look at the map first or go check out the property and make sure that, like, there's nobody living on it or something like that. and-
Not unless you want to hold a special meeting.
No, I don't want to have a
31st.
special meeting.
Couldn't we appoint somebody to make a final decision on it, that we can authorize somebody to do that? That's our motion? And I'm only saying if you want to do it, I know
I would say no.
I'd say no too.
All right, I second the motion then. They don't have a lot of value in them at all. They'll probably bounce back to us in a year anyway. If they do stay vacant.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Roll call, John?
Can you repeat the way the motion
Okay,
was
what's the
framed?
motion? Not to accept,
Motion to reject
and it's seconded?
the unsold forfeited properties for 2019. So I made a motion to reject those. And
I'll
John-
second it.
John seconded. Had our discussion. And now we're at roll call, John?
Yes.
Beverly?
yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Sandra, yes, motion passes. Moving forward. The PLM contract.
If you want.
What's the PL now?
Professional
This
lake
is here with
management.
the Satellite Association.
Uh-huh.
Professional Lake Management,
Yeah.
more commonly known as PLM. They are our lake management professionals, handle the eradication of the exotic weeds and water quality of the lake. We've had them for a number of years, and typically they allow a choice between a one-year contract or a multi-year contract, which typically is a 5-year contract. It's been brought to my attention as the current president of the association that some of our members would like us to do a little bit of a due diligence and maybe a little bit better fiduciary responsibility in where these monies go, and see if we can activate some more interest in putting out bids to see if we can save some money, or at least know if we're in competition with some of the other providers in the state. So I've sent out, 3 different letters to other professional lake management companies to assist us in giving us some bids based on, the criteria from DEQ, which is in the PLM contract, as well as, what their, goals and objectives and their targets are. So as a result, and this is, has to do with the township, because our lake is in the township. So that's why it's before the board. It's our recommendation from the Lake Association that we do not go with the 5-year contract at this time, which will give us time to get the other bids in from the other managers. So they do give an alternate of a 1-year contract, which would start in 2020. So the recommendation for the association to the board would be that we go with the 1-year contract based on their evaluation and their estimates of what the cost procedure would be for their services for 2020. Now, there is a consideration regarding the estimates on the cost of the management, and that's exactly what they are. They're estimates. Our lake has a public access, and typically in the past, the estimates have come in pretty well on target, unless there's some invasive species or some special circumstances that need further addressing with different chemicals or procedures that they use. So based on all the information and the number of years we've had them, I would recommend to the board that the association, not me personally, the association, I'm speaking on behalf of the association, to do the 1-year program at this time, to give us time to get other information in from other management services.
Well, that sounds logical to me.
So, Karen, on the budget side of this, have you looked at anything in your budget?
Right, we've been able to cover this every year so far. We've been okay. The DEQ additional requirements is costing more as far as sampling. Even if we were to go with a different management company, I suspect it would be similar, but that's one good reason to get some other prices.
So are you gonna, within your current budget right now?
Yes.
We're not gonna have to amend that budget.
We're not gonna what?
We're not gonna have to ask for more money.
No, not at this point. I certainly hope not, no.
I believe the question was, is this gonna be in the Saddle Lake Association's budget to cover these costs?
Right.
Correct.
Within our current
With
special assessment.
With the current special assessment, we don't anticipate, any increase in that at all.
Okay.
Even with the bump, what they call a bump, if there's, sonar used, which was done last year, we should be good, very good for the year 2020. So there should be no problem with, any additional funding at all.
Okay. Any other questions?
Question? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from anybody on the board?
But I think it's a good idea for them to be,
Looking at our costs.
And I was just looking at what's in the bank account balance right now for Saddle Lake is almost $32,000. Yep.
So, I think I'd like to go ahead and make that motion for the 1-year contract for 2020.
And the motion will read how?
To accept the 1-year contract. Do you have a second?
I'll second.
Wait, I'll second it.
That too.
Is our vote is good, I second that? Any other discussion? No? Roll call, John.
Yes.
Beverly.
Yes.
Karen.
Yes.
Linda, yes. Going forward, planning commission position, we have one position that, is up. I've gotten two different, interests.
And we just got these tonight, so we might need to take a second.
Sure.
What did you say, Drew? Yeah. Yeah. You bet. Is that new? Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Chris here tonight.
Yes,
So what we do, take your reappointment first?
So you just have two interested parties that, and how were they made aware of the opening?
It was announced at the last meeting that the planning commission has an opening.
Will have,
Will
when
have
the
an
term is
opening.
expiring.
At the end of.
Yeah.
Yep.
This becomes effective January 1st.
January
1st.
So as supervisor, I would like to appoint,
You want a motion for what?
I would like to appoint,
Okay.
Mr. Chris Hodgman to be that next person to hold that position. He is a local, farmer.
Yeah, I know Chris over here.
I think that would bring diversity again to our planning commission and get ideas from a farmer, a leader in the area.
Mm-hmm.
So that is my reason for choosing Chris Hodgman. At this time, I would like to appoint him. It's up to the board to accept my appointment or not to accept.
Well, I believe that Chris Hyman will be an excellent person to have on the plan commission.
Have you met him, John? Have you met him?
Oh, heck, yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
I know
yeah.
he's been around a long time. I personally.
He's my neighbor, we got the 3 inches, Heisman, and the other one.
Well, I would like to say that planning commission has been working well together, and Linda Miller has done an excellent job being on the planning commission. She's dedicated, she's been in the community a long time, and I like Linda personally. However, I don't believe that anyone should stay on the planning commission. I believe that people should rotate. That may have been part of our problems in the past, where the same people are on over and over and over again. And I think having the input of someone that's different, when they talk about diversity on the planning commission, they are talking about different portions of the community. And I think we've had people from Lakes, we've had people from the general community, we've not had a farmer that I know of for a while. And I don't even like making these kind of decisions. I'm glad it's your decision.
So, John has approved my nomination. Do we have to wait a second?
I'd just like to say, I've known Linda for many years, and she's a dedicated person, and she's a nice lady, and, she's been on it a long time, and I agree with Beverly that sometimes it's good to put a new face in.
And I'm confident that she will continue to have impact, even if in attendance.
Absolutely.
I know that she will still speak up. Well, I agree with some turnover and some range of demographics and. So you need a second? I'll second.
All in favor, John?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Okay.
We're getting to the end first. Last thing is the renewal of the township liability property insurance with Urban Town.
So, yeah, I haven't seen that yet. Is this our typical expiration date? I've seen the past ones, so if it's just. These are property insurance or the general liability? Or do they increase the coverage? Yeah, right. You wanna glance at it? I don't know, but I did work it all that needs to be done. I don't think there's anything about that. I'm not surprised. Typically, I get some notification on that. I like to see it later in the world. Educate myself a little bit. Sure. Does that have an extra copy she can hang on to, or? So that's just a routine one. I would move that we renew our insurance with them.
For now, yeah, and then we'll wait for the auto. So Karen, you're making a motion to renew the, township liability insurance?
Yes.
Do I have a second?
Yeah.
Beverly? Any other discussion?
Yes, I think that we ought to, talk to agents, and we should talk to the agents, well, and find out about what it might cost us to increase some,
Limit?
you never know, it could be a little well.
Well, and I would say that Catherine has mentioned, she's surprised we don't get anything through MTA.
Okay.
So, I mean, with this date, like, right, I mean, this is just a proposal date, right? This isn't the actual expiration date. So I don't know if there's time to get any other bills, but if it's, no, the whole time I've been here.
I'm just wondering if they have a history or something, or why it's. Most municipalities don't, I mean, whether we have, that's who they are, that's who they are.
Yeah, Catherine was promoted at
Michigan,
yeah. She thought it was odd that we're members of MCA and there's no insurance.
and that was probably kind of,
Yeah.
but I think that's what we should do, we should just.
So if this isn't expiring right now, maybe we should find out the expiration and see if we, that would explain why I didn't see anything. I don't recall if it was or not. I don't think it was. Can I get prices next year or something, or even you can do it mid-year, you can get quotes during the year.
I don't think we're going to make a motion.
If you think we're at the cusp of, you think maybe it's a calendar year policy?
No second, and I don't think we can risk having you laugh. Any other discussion? John?
Oh, thank you.
We'll accept the, renewal for the township district.
Yeah.
Beverly?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do we have other vacancies on any of the other committees?
I'm gonna double check.
And I know you guys mentioned the planning commission maybe having new dates next year. I thought I already saw something in the reminder.
We didn't have,
Right?
we did not put that.
Oh, jumped the gun maybe? Oh, reminder date. Well, we can retract. I mean, it's probably not gonna be a big problem for anybody, but.
Okay, moving forward, public comments.
Harry,
Yes, sir.
thank you for your service. God bless you, kid.
And you, buddy.
Just want to let you know. Oh, yeah.
Anybody else? Yes, maybe.
I just wanted to know what the terms are for the planning commission, how long?
This is 3-year term.
3 years?
There was 2 complaints of late that I haven't heard about. One was for Chet Johnson, the other one was for Lonnie Johnson for having an empty semi-trailer in a residential zone, and he doesn't reside in the residential zone, and he has also other farm equipment inside this residential zoning. And zoning told me that she handed it off to you, and I have not heard anything about it. And I'm not done yet, I got 3 minutes, right? There should be an ad in the paper for another treasurer. There may be somebody out there that's more qualified, not to say that she's not qualified, but it's supposed to be out there for people that are living around here, or that might be wanting this job, that feel that they're better qualified, and a vote. Not just put in there, because you guys want her in there.
There will be a vote in November.
Well, that's the way it's supposed to work.
And the letter of intent.
Right, and that's the way it's supposed to work. Thank you very much. The decorations look nice, whoever put them out there finally, but now whose job is it to put the bulbs in there that are all out? They look nice except for half of them are missing the bulbs, they're all out.
I'll contact Steve.
Yeah.
We'll get on it.
And as far as Linda Miller goes, I don't know if you all forgot, she used to sit right over there, or right over there, and video the board, hoping to catch them doing something wrong. And now here she is on the committee.
We have our own video.
Oh, with
of the
Dixie.
detectives doing something wrong.
And with Dixie, along with her, she's on the committee too, and they both sat here and tried to do the video, this board, doing something wrong. Go figure, I don't know how that works, but.
Anybody else?
Yes, ma'am, in the back corner.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Jody.
Yes, I do not like the way the fire chief did the clerk. I think he owes her an apology because she does a good job. She's never done anything wrong, and I just don't like it because I work underneath her. I think she's done a great job. Thank you.
Just one, I guess you'd call it a comment, and I'm sure the board will take into consideration when you change the verbiage or add the terminology for the EMT payroll people, that it make sure it doesn't run a conflict with the dual trained personnel, firemen, EMT. We'll make sure there's a clarity there. That's all.
Yes, that's good.
Anybody else have a comment? Moving forward, board comment, Beverly.
I'm glad we got Karen for one more meeting. And I'm sorry she's leaving, but I totally get it. Life is important. And if you can't fit this in with life, it's not worth it.
Go with London.
Go with
And,
That's
right. I mean, this is part of life, but what you're doing is gonna be much more important. And, I wish you well, and I'm sure I'll see you around. And I really hate everybody, we always all have agendas. That's why everybody gets involved in everything, because they have an agenda, but it seems like here the personal agenda goes way further than any other. Is that my timer? Good.
Wow, the board has a 3 minute
No,
cutoff.
I just need to shut up, so.
And,
Santa Claus grown.
yeah, and as far as Linda Miller, Linda did a good job on the planning commission. I wasn't here before when she was videotaping the board. The board videotapes the board now, because apparently no one trusts anyone here in this community, which is sad, because there's so many good people here that like each other, and it just seems like everybody walks into this room, and I don't know what happens, but something crazy happens, because everyone has the world the way they see it. And like, I ran into a guy in a parking lot last night, he was taking up 2 spaces this way in his truck, and I was trying to pull in behind him. And I nicely asked the man, could you move up a little bit? I was kind of afraid, because I didn't know what he would do. And he said, you know what, there's a whole parking lot of spaces here. And a man that was walking past me with his little baby we had to park way down there because it was dark. We were in the Benton Harbor Meyer parking lot.
Oh,
He said, you know, some people just think the world is theirs.
yeah.
Now, this isn't directed to any one person, so I'm gonna look up here. It's kind of directed to all of us. Yeah, the world is ours, but it's everyone else's too, and if we can find a way to share even when we don't agree, which is something that Karen did a lot, and I just don't know how who's gonna keep our ducks in a row, because you certainly were helping all of us do that. And I mean it.
Karen, would you stand up, please?
I still have one more meeting.
I won't get my paycheck now.
Actually.
On behalf of the board, Karen, I want, Linda is going to present you this, I want you to see it, and we appreciate your service and your dedication to the members of the Columbia Township area and board. God bless you and continue on.
Thank you, Karen. Could I say one last thing? Karen is not here, she was never here with a personal agenda. It's always about trying to do the right thing and get township business done. So I hope that this board can somehow try to do that. Now I'm done.
Anything else?
Yeah, we got one more thing.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, everybody else.
Oh, wait, we're not done.
Are we singing?
Yeah, we are. You didn't do
I
that
didn't have
after
my
we
time
said.
yet.
This is board comments, so here's our comments. Stand up. Get out. Stand up.
I hope we don't have to sing.
Stand up. We are going to sing. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Now we adjourn.
I never have to.
Karen has a board comment. Karen?
Yeah.
You got a comment on that?
Don't quit your day job.
As I look around the room, I discern some pure hearts, and most notably, my husband, Gary Grubb. He has a long history of public service, including putting himself in harm's way to protect others. He has supported me throughout this endeavor, and I am grateful. And I'm sorry I said that in public, because you're embarrassed probably, so I'm in trouble. I never considered myself to be a politician, kind of what you were saying. I despise dirty politics, deceit, greed, selfish motives, so I won't miss that part, or the unholy alliances, but I really found gratification in serving our community for over 3 years and value the sincere friendships that have emerged. For me, respect cannot be earned without trust, and I think in the spot of Treasury, trust is particularly important, and I personally do trust Rhonda. She has earned that. So, Merry Christmas.
My final comment, Karen, thank you for everything that you've done. I really, truly enjoyed working with you, even though we didn't see eye to eye on things at times, as expected. But thank you for everything that you've done, and we've worked together on a few issues, and thank you for that. As far as Linda goes, Linda, you did a great job with the planning commission. I invite you to reapply again in 3 years. And to everybody, Merry Christmas. And you guys have a happy New Year. We'll see you in January. Any motion to adjourn?
So moved.
You guys were all so polite at the time.
Finally got there. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Appreciate that a lot.
Thank you. Excited to be out here.
Yeah. Another country heard from you.